What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Kevin,
I'm Derek.
and together we are last week's album, and in this episode we're talking about Gold Shadow by Asaf Avidan. But before we do, we'll kick things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Kevin, everyone at home.
And let's give you some background on Asaf Avidan. If I'm saying his name wrong, my apologies. It's a tough one. He is a singer-songwriter from Israel. His debut EP, Now That You're Leaving, was released independently in 2006 to critical acclaim. He went on to form Asaf Avidan and the Mojos, an Israeli folk rock band that made 3 albums, one of which became the biggest selling independent record of all time in Israel. So even though you may not have heard of him, well, you probably should. Now is the time with Gold Shadow, which is actually his second solo album since he parted ways with the Mojos. So let's talk about what Gold Shadow sounds like. Derek, what do you think?
Kevin, I think Gold Shadow sounds like a confused Bright Eyes from a few years ago, torn between affinities for folk, rock, or electronic sounds, but using them all anyway.
Nice, nice. I agree, kind of. I think this sounds like a glittery glom of Amy Winehouse, Langhorne Slim, Billie Holiday, and Robert Plant. So maybe that gives you an idea, maybe it doesn't. Let's talk about key tracks. That'll give you more of an idea. Derek, what did you pick?
Kevin, I'm going with album opener, Over My Head.
All right, well, I'm going with number 10 on the album, Bang Bang. So why don't you kick us off there, Derek?
Yeah, this one just drips with 60s soul. There's soft organ, crisp electric guitar, easy pace bass snare drum beat, and then there's female backing vocals with lots of ohs and ahs throughout. I really like your Langhorne Slim reference because I really thought the vocals here really reminded me of Langhorne Slim. The lyrics here, the narrator describes his journey back to his lover from some really terrible place. So it kind of made me think of that old saying, to hell and back. So this story is definitely describing the return from hell. And the first lyric, actually, he says, I'm in over my head, dragged back from the dead. So if taken literally, this could be a zombie love story, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. But if anything, it makes for a great listen.
Zombie references are always great. Thanks, Derek. Let's talk about Bang Bang a little bit. It starts with this acoustic blues guitar and some drum taps, along with hand claps and foot stomps. The vocals are very woozy, almost drunken in delivery, which fits the song very nicely. Later we get these sort of remixed horns and sitar-like guitar picking. The lyrics are a declaration of intense love. Here's a sample line. I love you like death loves a man, which gives you an idea of the kind of inescapable, all-consuming affection he's singing about. And overall, just this swampy, galloping song that's thick with overflowing passion and simple yet really catchy melodies. So check those tracks out. And let's talk about best lyrics. Derek, what do you have?
Kevin, mine comes from a song called The Jail That Sets You Free. And he says, I'm shuffling underneath my pillow for the breadcrumbs of my mind. It's hard to look there for a future when I left it all behind. Just really kind of interesting wordplay here. Just really grabbed my attention the first time I heard it, and just really interesting line there.
No lie, Derek, that was my backup lyric, so good call there. However, for my very best one, I'm going for one from Fair-Haired Traveler, which goes, her eyes were packing past regrets, in her lips there was redemption, and she mistook my coat for love as she wore it for affection. And as she took the seat beside me, I inhaled all of her laughter, and she forgot there is a past, while I forgot there is an after. A little bit long-winded, I apologize there, but there's so much story and emotion in those 2 codas, I guess you could say, that it's overall just really, really nice and really, really well done. So, moment of truth, overall rating, what are you going to give Gold Shadow, Derek?
Kevin, I'm giving Gold Shadow a 3 out of 5. I thought there were some really well-constructed melodies, not just vocally, but instrumentally as well. Lyrics were very strong. I think you and I both kind of touched on that there. I really like the word selection. There's a lot of polysyllabic words going on, which I always like. A lot of, as we kind of touched on, it sounds like a variety of sounds, which I also thought was kind of a detraction at times because it almost seemed to stray too much at times. I think there was one song in there that kind of reminded me of a spaghetti western type thing, and I was just like, where did this come from? And it just kind of dry for me a little bit in the middle, but there were some real strong highlights, which I think we kind of discussed here.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Derek. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5 as well. On the con side, I totally agree with you. I think it's a little too all over the place. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. The variety felt a little overwhelming in ambition and underwhelming in execution. But he went for it, so that's awesome. I think also he relies a little too heavily on his voice. It is clearly the showstopper here. It's a voice that you can't not hear once you've heard it. He does a really great job of helping it fit the vibe of each song and using it in different ways. But overall, a little bit too much reliance on his voice there. So, yeah, that's 2 3s out of 5s. That would be 6 out of 10 if I'm not mistaken. So check out Gold Shadow for yourself. Make up your own mind. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear about it. And yeah, there you have another review from last week's album. Don't forget to subscribe to us here on YouTube. And as always, I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.